Surely the presence of joy is in this place. I can feel its mighty power in its praise. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory in each face. Surely the presence of joy is in this place. Surely the presence of peace is in this place. I can feel its loving power and its praise. There's a holy truth within us that no other can replace. Surely the presence of peace is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel its tender power and its praise. There's a holy glow within us that nothing can erase. Surely the presence of love is in this place. We sing about and talk about the presence and consciousness. My dear friends, we are that consciousness. We are the presence. And wherever we go, we are the presence. And I guess the question would be the presence of what? As we go into different arenas and different places, what is the light that we shine? Is it a bright light? Is it a dim light? Is it a consciousness and a presence of love and acceptance and compassion and empathy? Or is it a presence of judgment? It's up to us. I guess the thing that's required is for us to be aware until we are that presence, that desired presence, that divine presence habitually, until we just walk around all the time. Kelly's got it. She's just back there walking around in the joy. So just all of us, please know, wherever you go, whatever mood you might happen to be in, you are the presence in the room. And so it is.
Hi. I'm a recent empty nester, and I just felt like this needed to come with me today because I have 3 girls, and now they're gone. My empty nest, but they're still in my life, so go. So today I'm talking about, the title of it is called Just Wait. And I brought a piece of my swatch. It used to be on my wall when I was like 11, a long time ago. I don't know how it's still working, but anyway, I just thought it was kind of appropriate, just wait. It's interesting life's journey. We go about our days with expectations that life is just going to flow in the direction it's going, and we are the trout moving along. Then out of nowhere, there's a dam, and it blocks the flow. It's been a rough season, joyful at brief moments, but followed by treacherous storms. December 23rd, I had a beautiful time with 2 of my daughters, and sad to say goodbye to them as they travel back to their own homes and lives. I catch up with my best friend on the phone while deciding to prepare to fly to Texas to see my one little birdie that has flown from the California nest back to Texas. In preparing for a trip, I do weird things that oddly clean my mental clutter and allow me space to actually pack my bag. It's now midnight and my ride is picking me up in 3 hours and 45 minutes. Thank you, Patrick, for being my ride. I rock the zombie Barbie look and arrive at my gate 3 hours before takeoff. Reflections and awareness of choices begin to sink in, and the darkness starts to surround. Tears begin to trickle, and I fight the waterfall. Boarding begins as passengers make their way toward the podium, dragging luggage and kids, presents, dogs, and grandmas along. I catch eyes with the pilot, and while tears are clouding mine, I press through with a Merry Christmas to him, and we exchange smiles. The plane is full, and all I hear is coughing. I'm pretty sure a lung is coming out in row 25. I bury myself in my own misery, using my coat and hood to close me off from the world, feeding into the cosmos. Tick, tick, tick. 20 minutes later, the captain informs us of the following. We are having a mechanical issue. Not to worry. And more than one. No problem. I'm sitting here. I'm not moving. I'm going to bury myself further into my fur. Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you, there is an oxygen problem. You know the masks above you? They're malfunctioning. We will need to deplane and search for another plane. This one will not be able to serve us anymore. Go ahead. Start looking for another flight. It's Christmas Eve. Okay, not sure what's next, but do we ever? My friend and client Doug once told me, accept what is. It's going to happen anyway. So I pull out my lip gloss and my phone, 2 comfort items, and decide it's the perfect time to cry. Again. I lean against the industrial-sized hand sanitizer mounted next to me where I'm sitting, and I just wait. I just wait. I'm not hoping or wishing, praying, asking, thinking, or even worrying. I'm just quietly waiting, accepting, surrendering to reality. I don't even think 15 minutes has passed and the announcement comes on. Boarding for flight 2057. Service to San Antonio. Unexpected hope. Divine intervention caught me by surprise. I gather my things quietly and begin to make my way to the runway tunnel once again. Except this time I don't have my boarding pass. I destroyed it as soon as I sat in my seat, assuming I'm done. I've got less stuff to manage because that little rectangular piece of paper is a lot of stuff to manage. Definitely lightened my load by letting that go. But I got my pink boots on. I'm still sporting that zombie Barbie look, and so it's no problem being remembered and getting a new boarding pass. It's funny how quickly and peacefully 204 passengers can reboard a plane the second time compared to the first time. As we all unite on this united flight, Taylor Swift music begins to amplify the aircraft. The man next to me says, "It's a Christmas miracle." It is just that. And I see 3 movie screens playing around me, and I can relate to all of them. The Incredibles, Barbie, and Home Alone. And the one book I decided to bring on the plane to read, Heaven. Life after death. The vibe has completely changed. The darkest days of December changed at that moment. I've been yearning for brighter days. As the solstice came and passed, and we are now in the season of more light in our days meteorologically. But we don't have to allow the calendar to dictate when that should happen, nor get anxious, worried, fret, or despair that it may not. All we have to do is accept what is and just wait. Thanks.
Thank you. Linda, thank you. What a great message. Just accept, don't fight. You were talking to your old friend, and I had a talk with my oldest and dearest friend. I can't remember when this person wasn't my friend. And we were having a phone conversation the other day. I said, Patrick, I need to tell you something. I've been wanting to tell you for a while, and I think now's the time. I said, sure. What do you want to tell me? He said, Patrick, I'm imaginary. Well, I've been hanging on to that for a long time. Good morning, everyone. We are going to have Thursday spiritual book study. When? 2 weeks? What? It was just this past Thursday? 20, something like that. Okay. We are going to have our annual meeting and potluck on January 28th. So come and take part in setting the agenda for the coming year. And it's your time to spout off and vote and all the things we do at the annual meeting. And then one thing I was going to wait till January 28th to tell you, but I think we should start making plans now. The last Sunday in February when we have potluck, that we're actually going to have Bonnie's chicken and dumplings on the last Sunday in February. So we'll get with Bonnie. There's other things that need to happen too, but she does her annual chicken and dumplings feed. So it'll be the last Sunday in February. Is that true and correct? If the creeks don't rise. Okay, they very well might. We're supposed to have some rain, I think. So anyway, are there any? Give us an update on your sister. How is she doing, please?
I just spoke with Sabrina on the way here, and she's doing okay. Her blood pressure is a little low, so they're actually going to do a transfusion this morning to help her with her recovery. So prayers, please.
Okay.
But really no phone calls or texts. The energy's just not there to be responding.
Yeah, that's why I haven't. That's
but
why I asked.
World of prayers would help her out. But
Okay.
she's doing good.
All right.
Just not recovering.
Surgery went okay. Just
Surgery went okay.
rehab's going to take a while.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And give her our best when you talk. Any other announcements?
Question,
Yes, sir.
what is the book for this month's spiritual book club?
I don't know. Who knows? Somebody knows.
We're reading Eric Butterworth, In the Flow.
In the Flow by Eric Butterworth. Okay. Thank you. Good question. I never know. I don't keep track. Any other announcements? If not, then let's stand up and sing How Could Anyone Ever Tell You, number 14 in the little songbook. And we don't have a song leader. She's getting a transfusion right now, so we'll just have to make do upon our own.
She with us in spirit.
There we go.
How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you would last and whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell me I was anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell me I was less than gold? How could anyone fail to notice that my loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to your soul.
And now is the time when we get to greet each other in the traditional Church of the Oaks fashion. Good morning, good morning. It's weird. I just days and nights on this stuff. And I've done too much. I'm tired of it. I've been procrastinating with it. I haven't done a thing yet. So I'm procrastinating watching TV and movies. Still, I can't. So I gotta get today and tomorrow.
Happy New Year.
Our stronger voice without Selena. I hear you.
Kind of play, remember chords and notes and look at.
Yes, Brenda. Peter, Brenda. If we can go down and trace our paths, we can figure it out. Yeah. Hello. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Hello.
How about a big deep breath? Just a. This thing we do, this hugging, shaking hands, sharing our energies. Namaste. Beholding the divine in each other. Doesn't that taste good? Isn't that something to truly savor and just sit here for a moment? How fortunate we are to be able to share ourselves with each other. So I think that's one of the many things that we could call our abundance. It just, there's a lot of people that don't get to share that. And that's one of the, when I talk to people about, what do you like most about Church of the Oaks? That's my community, that's my family. This is where I find my refuge and my peace and my support. And I can talk to these people and vent, and they just let me. It's okay. Because we are all family. And some of them have been family for many, many years. And it's just a delightful feeling. So let's read together our affirmation of abundance. May we? A consciousness of abundance is knowing that there is always enough. May we ponder that wonderful wisdom, sir. Thank you, Michael. Before we sing our song that prepares us for our meditation, I'm just going to say a couple words. Our our meditation this morning will be led by a gentleman who's not been coming here very long, but who has way much experience and has become a very good friend, Dick Meyer, and he is going to lead us in meditation this morning. And so let's sing together, Only Believe, number 152 in the Wings of Song.
Only believe, only believe, all things are possible. Only believe, only believe, only believe, all things are possible. Only believe.
Well, I was glad that Pat gave an introduction. I can bypass all of that. I'm always amazed over the years how anytime I'm asked or have spoken in a situation like this, how Spirit prepares the way. I really just introduced myself for the first time to Linda this morning, but if I could have asked Linda to prepare something that would enhance the meditation thought that the Spirit brought to me, I couldn't have asked for anything better. And that is, and I know Pat alludes to this often. I'm sure you've already read the quotes at the bottom of the order of service today are all related to Martin Luther King. And in the spirit of this weekend and in the memory of that man's vision and how it has touched us and still continues to do so, as we go into our meditation this morning, I would just say this in our next few minutes of meditation, that we are not looking for anything extraordinary to happen. Not that it couldn't, but that's not what we're looking for. I would ask that the point is to see the prospect of the divine Spirit in the ordinary that you and I face each and every day. And that may that meditation time do its part to transform our perception of the reality around us. And that just touches on what Pat has already shared just a few moments ago. So as we just close our eyes, make ourselves comfortable, and whatever comfort you require for your meditation posture. As we just close our eyes now, I would just ask that you would, for the next few minutes, to focus on an outcome that you wish to see happen. It could be a great outcome that impacts the entire world. It could be an outcome that you would like to see happen in your own immediate family, to a neighbor. But as we breathe Spirit one with another now, may we focus on that. And as we focus, may that reality come to pass, and may we see how we might be a greater part of that reality. May our presence today together in spirit bring it to pass. Namaste.
Dick, thank you very much. Free at last, free at last. That was the song of the movement, the great civil rights movement that lasted for 100 years. But I wonder, I'm going to ask a question. Are we free? How do we feel about that? Are we? I think the people in this room, where we don't tell you what to think, we just try to encourage you to think for yourself. I think we have a certain level of freedom that so many people in our society do not. There are who protects and preserves this freedom we have? How much do we work at it? We have the people in Washington that supposedly protect and preserve our freedom. And I think over the last couple hundred years, they could have done a lot better. But I think they didn't because we didn't invest as much freedom in as much freedom as we probably should have. How important is your freedom to you? How much do you work? How much do you invest in that freedom? How many hours work at your wage, whatever it is or was? How many hours do you have to work to pay your rent or mortgage every month? That's pretty important. How about your car payment and insurance? Oh my gosh, and don't forget the phone and the Wi-Fi. We all have to pay that. And when we have the Wi-Fi and the phone, I think that's the opposite of freedom these days. How much money do we spend on freedom? How many hours of work do we spend on freedom? Or like most of us just think, well, I vote twice a year. What if we just paid our rent twice a year? Or just paid our phone bill twice a year? Or put something in the basket at Church of the Oaks twice a year? Probably would not do well. We'd probably all be down at cots. I think it was Bobby Kennedy was talking about freedom is something you got to work at all the time. Maybe it was John F. Kennedy, I don't remember. But I know that it's an ongoing thing, this freedom thing. How many years, decades did women work for the right to vote? They had to work harder than African Americans. The Equal Rights Amendment. They worked on that for 30, 40 years. It's still not a reality. There's a thing, all the quotes that Dick mentioned on the bottom of your order are from Martin Luther King. And I tried to pick out ones that weren't limited to the plight of African Americans. They're include all of us because they're about freedom for all of us and justice for all of us. I watched a documentary recently. It was started about the Rehabilitation Act in 1973, and it was called Crip Camp. It's a documentary on Netflix. I encourage all of you to watch it. It started up in New York. I think it was New York. It was somewhere in the Northeast, where people with disabilities went for camp. And every kind of disability you can think of, blind, deaf, every kind of crippled you could imagine, every kind of disability. And then as they grew up, it was started back in 53 and went to 75 or something like that. This little camp last. People went to college and Berkeley seemed to be the place to go if you had disabilities. It was just like the whole people of the camp all went out to Berkeley to go to college. And the Rehabilitation Act was signed in 1973, but it was never like put into effect. The states were never mandated. And it was all about anybody that received federal money had to provide access, handicap access, and the schools all had to do that. And they were trying to change it just for one school in each district to have handicap access and teachers. So these youngsters were going to Berkeley. I think they went into Oakland and they demonstrated at the federal building, or maybe it was San Francisco, I don't know, but they were there for 24 days. And some of them in that 24 days went to Washington, D.C. and protested. And this was a few years after 73. This was in Jimmy Carter's administration, maybe 77, 78. And they finally got the Secretary of something, Health and Welfare. I don't remember what his title. Anyway, he signed it and actually put it into effect. But it only included people who received federal monies. What about churches and all the schools and all the private schools and all the public places? So they continued to protest all across the country, went back to Washington, D.C. And finally, they started in 73. Finally, in 1990, 17 years of standing up and protesting and putting pressure on politicians, the American Disabilities Act was finally passed in July of 1990. And even then, it took decades to get it all enforced. But here's the thing, it's the long game, folks. Anytime you want to change a society, it's not something we do on election day and it fixes everything. It's a long game. You know, it may sound a little negative, but it's our reality. After Eisenhower got out of office, the status quo decided we're gonna get taxes down from 90%. We're going to undo all the good things that happened that restricted our profits. And it's taken them 70 years, but they invested fortunes in controlling the state and federal government, the state governments and the federal government. And they do, both parties, they do. But they were willing to invest long term. We'll vote twice a year, sure as the world. But how much do we invest in our freedom, in the good of our country, in the good of our citizens? What I'm about to say is, please don't take it as political. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or something else. I just don't care. But what I do care about is freedom. It's having the right to assemble here together and do whatever we choose to do in this Church of the Oaks. Pursue our personal freedoms of thought and action, and be able to sit here and hear energy, receive energy from people like Linda and Kelly and Dick and all the people who participate in these services every week. That could stop any day. Where they go, oh, no, it can't. Yes, it can. History has told us that century after century after century. Unless we're willing to invest in this magical thing that we call freedom. 90% of the world doesn't know the extent of freedom. Well, that's wrong. Probably 60% of the world doesn't know the extent and the value of the freedom we have in this country. That we vote twice a year and that's it. That's what we invest. And I think it's going to require more of us, folks. The people who are in favor of taking our freedom away and controlling everything, they were willing to invest billions of dollars and years of consistent pressure to achieve what they wanted. And I think we must do something similar. Freedom ain't free. I ran into something right after the 2016 election. And here again, this is not political. It has to do with politics. It's a thing called Brand New Congress. I encourage each of you to Google it. They run Republican and Democratic and Independent candidates in every election. And in the national election, the first time they ran candidates was in 2018. They ran 36 candidates. One of them won. Not only several won the primary, but one, the 14th district in New York, won in 2018. 2019, they won the 14th and the 16th district in New York. And their candidates that they run refuse to accept corporate donations, campaign donations. It's all grassroots. That's the deal. Republican, Democrat, and grassroots and independent. And they're playing the long game. 2021, they won the 20th district in Florida. 2022, they got a Senate position seat in Pennsylvania. They also got in 2022 the 47th district in California, the 10th district in Florida, the 20th district in Florida, the 10th district in Michigan, the 1st district in Missouri, the 14th and 16th again in New York, Texas, whoa, the 35th district in Texas, Vermont, the Congress at large position. Every year, the amount of candidates that run increases. But these are people who aren't selling their votes to the highest bidder. And I think that is a very valuable option to a path that might help us keep our freedoms. And I think it's important that we continue, like Dick said today, meditate. Not anything huge, just meditate. And in that meditation, ponder an outcome that we would desire. That energy of meditation, we do the coherence from the heart and brain, and meditation. That energy is indeed powerful. And we have so many people doing so much. I said last week, there's not a day goes by in this country, there isn't a new nonprofit registered for the benefit of enriching the lives of our fellow human beings. In our actions, the light we shine, our consciousness, our presence in any situation adds to that energy, that power of freedom and connection. We are encouraged to be disconnected and think about our own selves every time we turn on any kind of corporate media. But we sitting here in these pews in this building know that the real value of this life experience is being together, being connected, being aware that we are connected, being aware of the presence of the of the divine inside each of us. I'm going to just end the way I started this morning. We are the presence. Our presence, the presence of the divine, is with us, in us, manifested by us everywhere we go, in everything we say, everything we do. And when we work and invest in the things we hold valuable, our relationships, our families, our freedom, the more we invest in those values in our life, the more we will be able to appreciate them. And so will our fellow brothers and sisters. We can create this community that we have right here in this room. We can create that in all of our individual communities that we have outside this room, if we're aware that we are the presence of the divine. We have the power of the divine. We can demonstrate our consciousness. And remember Patrick's version of consciousness definition. Consciousness is the unseen power or energy that controls your thought, your speech, and your action at any given moment in time. And if we are aware of that, if we can constantly remind ourselves to be aware of the consciousness of the energy we are sharing, if we hold in sacredness the value of our relationships, the value of our connection with our community, and the value of the freedom that so many people have fought so long and so hard for. We can make it last. We can create a world where people can enjoy freedom, can begin to understand the true value of relationship and connection. And remember that money is just a tool. And we have the best tool, our hearts and our minds, our light and our present. And so it is, my dear friends. Let's sing together, "Let There Be Peace on Earth." And may it begin with each one of us as we be present wherever we are.
peace there was meant to be. With God through the earth, family all around me. Let us hope at each other in a perfect harmony. Let mercy be with me, and we let's sing a day of different kinds of the sky. Take each moment to live, each moment is eternal. Let perfect peace on earth and heaven begin with you.
It'll take us a minute and let's circle up and. All right, we can make this work. We can do it. All right, my friend. Amen. 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 Good to see you, Alan. I'm actually, I was saying, better I have to leave. I'm talking, ready for that.